ready? Get your hands up! 3, 2, 1. Danny, welcome back to Neversea, and welcome back to Romania, first of all.
Thank you very much.
You've been here before. You can already see the crowd behind you. And we're right before your set.
Mm-hmm.
So can you please tell me what Neversea means to you, and how do you feel the Romanian crowd?
Well, I think Romania is a really amazing country, first of all. I think the crowd here, every time I've played here, has showed so much energy, like every single time. I think if I compare it to all the crowds around the world, it's one of the best ones for sure. I played this festival like 2 years ago, and it was like crazy. I did Anto last year, so it's good to be back. It's good to do it once again. I'm happy to be here.
You know that Spain and Romania share a lot of things. We are both Latin countries, and there's quite a strong Romanian community in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Does this help you when playing in front of a Romanian crowd? Do you feel that you're somehow at home?
Well, I try to feel at home pretty much to most of the places that I go to. I haven't really had that much time to explore and get to know Romania that much, because every time I come here, just like in and out and play the show. But I do enjoy it every time I come here, and the love that the people showed here, it's amazing. So hopefully next time you get to explore more and get to know a little bit more about the country itself. Yeah.
Playing in front of huge crowds, you get the opportunity to actually influence people. Do you use this opportunity to try to educate the people in front of you, to make them better, to make them more sensitive to certain subjects, to certain, I don't know, to actually make them better, to educate them? That's the word.
I mean, I consider myself a very natural, positive kind of person. I never try to spread any negative thing, first of all. When it comes to music, I just try to make people have a good time. In the end, there's hundreds of thousands of DJs playing different sounds, but if I can speak about myself, I just like to play what I play, and I'm myself, and I just try to give the people the best time they can have.
One time in your life, you were the youngest resident DJ in one of the best clubs in the world, that is Hakkasan in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
2 questions for you about that. First of all, how important is it for a DJ and on his or her way to success to be resident in a club? Mm-hmm. And the second question is, how did it feel to be a DJ in one of the greatest clubs in the whole world?
It felt like a dream come true at some point, because Vegas is like a very iconic place that it has like some of the best clubs in the world for sure. And being so young, getting to go there, and it was funny because I wasn't allowed to stay at the club. So I was coming to the club 1 minute before, and they would kick me out right after that.
Why is that?
Because I was underage. Yeah, I couldn't drink, so they would kick me out, which was very funny. But it felt very, very special, very unique. I mean, everything that happened to me since I'm like 14, 15 has been like a bit like a roller coaster. I'm very thankful for everything. I've worked really hard for it, but at the same time, like every single thing that happened like that, playing in Vegas when I was like 16 or 17, I think it makes it super special, and unique for myself. Yeah.
And the other part of the question was, how important is the residency for a DJ's career? Does it help, or does it just make you use a lot of stereotypes in your music, or is it good or bad?
I don't think you need a residency. I think it's good to try things. I think it's good to be in different markets once in a while, to try things, to have fun, to be able to play different clubs and venues. But I don't think you should stick to something the whole time. I think it's all about changing things and trying new stuff. And if someone wants to be in Vegas every year, it's fine. But if you want to try new things in new markets, I think it's also fine.
You've played in front of American crowds, you've played in front of Asian crowds, you've played all over the world. Mm-hmm. Are your sets very different depending whether the crowd comes from one continent or another?
That's a good question. Well, I try to keep my sets I like to keep my sets to follow like a certain line that I like to play. But of course, I adapt a little bit. In Asia, they play much harder. They like much more banging stuff. So I try to go to that side a little bit more. If I play in America, they like other stuff. So, between my kind of like music range, I try to adapt as much as I possibly can.
Is there a risk for a DJ to somehow lose his or her identity while playing to different crowds? Because there's a thin line between remaining yourself, staying true to yourself, and pleasing the crowd to the maximum potential.
I think it's all about balance. It's all about like pleasing the crowd at some point, but you need to keep your identity as well. So if you go like that in the balance, it's too much. If you go like that as well, so you just need to know how to do it properly. I think sometimes you need to do a little bit more like that than that. You know what I mean? But it's just all about trying to, figure it out and do and like be your own kind of do your own kind of thing as much as you can.
What do you think is the best song in the world for having sex?
Wow. Oh man. Wow. Fall Apart by Post Malone for sure.
What is the best advice that you ever got, and from whom did you get it?
I actually got a couple of really good ones, so I want to make sure I tell the right one. Well, let me think. This was a pretty good one, actually. Actually, one of the guys that helped me out the most was Fede Legrand back in the days when I was like 15 and 16. I was starting, and he was like, in the beginning, if everything goes well and you work hard for it, and it goes like that, but there is a point where maybe it goes like that in a way where you keep playing shows, you keep traveling, that it might kind of look the same thing the whole time, and you need to know how to kind of like be thankful for it and not get used to everything. Like keep being hungry for absolutely everything that happens to you, because those guys as well, they keep playing the biggest festivals in the world, so it might look that it's the same thing the whole time, but you need to teach yourself how to keep being hungry, and want more and more and more. I think that's super important.
What's your advice for all these people that are just starting out, and some of them or most of them would give independence up for any contract that would get in front of their faces at any time?
From my perspective, it's all about being realistic. Of course, there's so many different factors that involve what might happen in the future, Of course, talent, how much you work, you might get lucky at some point or not, but of course, the more you work, the luckier you get. That's something that I follow a lot. But you have to be realistic, because some people might think that, I'm gonna drop absolutely everything in my life to do music, but it might not be the exact moment, the right moment to do it yet. You might need to wait, or you might need to be sure about what you're doing. So I think it's about being realistic and also good balance of other factors.
I just came up with another question.
Yeah.
Your career exploded when you were really, really young, and at that age, friendships tend to be really strong. How did your friends react once you started traveling and not having time to go out with them and have fun? Like when you're in high school, you have plenty of time to hang out and go out and meet girls and talk about them with your friends and your gang and stuff. And suddenly, for you, time was a very limited thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was more like they've seen me growing up. They've seen me working so hard for what I'm doing right now. So it was, of course, it was new, the fact that I started traveling like crazy and my career started going up like that. But they were happy about that. But for me, of course, it was very kind of weird, because I gave everything for my career. So I wasn't able to hang out with my friends. I didn't have time for any girlfriend or anything. I didn't have time for even my family for the longest time, because right now I think my schedule is a little bit more organized. So I'm able to have like more private life and work life, whatever. Back then it was just like 100% crazy, hectic, everything back and forth, you know what I mean? So back then it was pretty crazy, but I'm thankful for that, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So
are you now in the position to refuse some stuff and say, look, I'm not going to do this because I need personal time?
It's not so much about personal time, it's just about organizing myself so I can do like my best, you know what I mean? Like if I'm always traveling, I know that I cannot be in the studio making music, for instance, and then I'm gonna burn out eventually, whatever. So I try to, just I'm gonna do a couple shows here, and then I'm going back to the studio, then I'm doing that, instead of just doing like as many shows as possible that maybe the shows are not that good or whatever. And I think it's just about trying to figure it out as much as you can.